The call came out at about 5:30 this afternoon. Right along I-8 at Las Cochas Boulevard, east of El Cajon. There goes another water-dropping helicopter. Two of them are overhead, helping crews on the ground.
An RV parked on an Oceanside street next to several houses caught fire this afternoon. Here's a photograph that was tweeted out by the Oceanside Fire Department from the scene. As you can see, at least 3 fire engines responded to the scene.
Sandra Allen, I'm standing at the epicenter, effectively, of what is being referred to as an extensive crime scene with multiple locations where crimes were committed throughout the City Heights area this afternoon.
Because of the rainy weather, the search for a missing hiker in East County has been put on hold. For the time being, sheriff's deputies called off the search for 28-year-old Chris Sylvia last night and said they will reevaluate after the rain has passed.
The first place to flood in all of San Diego, it's right here. This is a little street called Avenida del Rio, Avenue of the River.
Better get your umbrellas ready.
Yeah.
Big storm heading our way.
It is. It's been sprinkling on and off around the county all day long. KUSI's Dave Scott joining us live in La Jolla with a word or two about when we can expect most of this rain.
We effectively had a bird's eye view and we watched the Coronado Hills burn, and look what happened when the big DC-10 came flying in. Here in the heart of Mission Valley, we find them, the hideaways of the homeless. Behind the reeds, which act as walls, partitions, we can see how somebody has dug out what amounts to sleeping quarters.
It is the end of an era for a beloved Kensington business, Kensington Video, the Fort Knox of video rental stores, in its final hours of operation after being in business for more than 30 years.
It's been happening all across the country, right, for
really
years.
is.
KUSI's John Soderman joins us live from what many call the mother of all mom and pop stores.
The owners of Pacific Imperial Railroad took $450,000 of investors' money and bought these 3 locomotives from Idaho Northern and Pacific Railroad. The problem with them is they don't work.
You have one that leads you to being not smart, and you have another one that leads you to being what you want to be.
Hang on.
he?
I'm taking notes. That
Seriously.
young man is teaching me a thing or two.
Malik is in 6th grade.
Way to go, Malik.
So the
We've tried to show you some unforgettable images this week, perhaps none more so than this one. One man standing alone, surrounded by the Cocos fire in San Marcos, refusing to back down. It's a Los Angeles Times pick by Rick Loomis, their award-winning photographer. We got the assignment first thing yesterday morning. The boss scratched instructions on his page of the LA Times, find him. And so we went looking for the man in this picture. A firestorm that moved at about a mile a minute early this morning burned almost everything in its erratic path. Almost everything. In the middle of it all, firefighters from at least 12 agencies and a photographer and an old man. The picture immediately went viral on social media and to millions of homes on the LA Times. Pulitzer Prize-winning photojournalist Rick Loomis captured the image.
You're just trying to put everything in a single image so that people who watch it or view it can kind of understand what's going on. And that fire was, just everywhere.
We had a name, James Harkins. We found an address. Harkins renters told us they weren't surprised he was standing his ground in the hills.
Well, whenever we need help, he always helps us.
30 minutes more of driving windy roads through scorched earth, and we found him.
Well, how are you doing today?
The question is, how are you doing today?
We're doing fine. Everything is great. Can't go wrong with that.
Wow.
Life in the big city, right? So about 1800 at night, it cooled down. Everything was quiet and peaceful. And then...
You don't mind the helicopter drops, do you? You don't mind those helicopters at all, do you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. They're doing their great job.
Yeah.
So anyway, the fire was over there on the other side of the mansion here. And it was not threatening at any time. And there wasn't anything around here that was threatening.
We just got dropped on, James.
We did. It's like rain from sky. And I see that the flames are coming up this way, and the fire department's there doing their job. And the fire department leaves to go do something else, so I grab the hose and I just keep everything wet down and so forth. So I'm down there about 6:30, I want to say, and this gentleman comes up and starts taking pictures. And I said, I hope you're not going to get me in trouble taking all these pictures, because I thought he was from the sheriff's department or the fire department, and they were going to say, well, you can't be here or whatever and so forth. He says, no, I'm just taking pictures. I'm from the Los Angeles Times. I said, okay, fine. I'm going to just do my jobs.
His neighbors had escaped the flames but lost everything they left behind, while the sergeant major stood his ground.
All right, just talked to Harkins to update you on his situation. He said he's still holding down his hill. Nobody needs to worry about him. Spoken like a true Marine.
Wow, what an amazing, strong guy up there. I can't believe he found him. That's amazing.
Well, we were amazed. We found him in good shape and in good spirits, as you could plainly see.
Popular San Diego Park getting back to normal today after more than 700 people converged on it last night to try to find out what it might be like to be homeless in America and to support the work of helping the homeless in San Diego. The event was called Sleepless America San Diego. This reporter spent a sleepless night there. We sign in when we arrive. They call it the Wall of Hope, an 8-by-20-foot greeting card on which we write messages to people we don't know. My daughter Jessie came, spending the first few hours of her 22nd birthday in hopes of finding a connection to someone she did know once, her late grandfather. We look out over what earlier in the day was a park, transformed now into what looks like a homeless encampment. Cot after cot, covered by hastily fashioned huts made of discarded cardboard boxes. Shelters for the people who came tonight to try to simulate the experience nobody really wants to know firsthand. They paid for the privilege, though, their donation of money, time, and compassion. The place is teeming with teenagers, some of whom have traveled 2 hours in cars and vans to get here. We found a few reading Bible verses, others kicking a soccer ball, others just sitting and sharing each other's company. Off to one side, under a canopy, a sort of museum. On display, remnants of lives lived on the streets and, but for a few people who cared, forgotten forever. Their signs once held for passers-by to see, their only voice, crying out for help, telling the world they were hungry and they were looking forward to better times ahead. For too many of them, that meant death. Their shoes lined in rows bearing their names and a bit of information. Shauna, 38 years old, her body found in a parking lot. Gary, 63 years old, died in San Diego Bay. And Patty, 60 years old, perhaps someone's grandmother, found dead in a park. All of it calls to mind someone this reporter did know, my father, who left our lives when I was 14 years old and took up a new life on the streets. I was 35 when I found him on the streets of downtown San Diego. I took him home, introduced him to his grandchildren, reconnecting him to family and answering the question my children asked 100 times, who's Grandpa Bob? Sleepless in San Diego, put on by the San Diego Rescue Mission. The head of the mission is here now. Herb Johnson, thanks for being with us here in the KUSI News at 6. What a great thing it is you and so many volunteers are doing. Why do you do it, first of all?